Yo, what's going on? My name is Drizzly, and in today's video, we're going to be making a Travis Scott type beat. Now, I'm very excited for his upcoming album, Utopia, and although we have no idea what it's going to sound like, I think it's safe to say it's probably going to have that dark Travis Scott sound we're all familiar with. If you find something in this video that helps you or interests you, please consider leaving me a like and subscribing. It helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it a lot. Let's get into the video. After going through some loops, I found this pretty hard one by my homie Vic. It's definitely got that dark Travis Scott feel that we're going for. I'm going to lay down some basic drums, but first I'm going to play you guys a little bit of it. All I did right there was just hold select. So just select the area you want by holding select on your mouse. So I selected these first 4 bars with the snares in them, and then I just press Command B to copy and paste it over to the next 4 bars to fill up the full 8 bars. All I'm doing right here is just lowering the velocity of the second hat. So usually it starts at around 80 velocity. I changed it to about 70 on the second one. And that just adds some quick bounce to your hats and makes them sound more human. After that, what I do is I press Option R on Mac, and that pulls up this menu called the randomizer. I really don't change anything here. I usually just put the velocity down a little like this and the pan down just a little like this and leave it at that and just press accept. And that just changes the panning and the velocity ever so slightly of the hats. It gives it that human and realistic kind of feel to them, even for trap beats. And then also what you can do if you open up, if you just click on the hi-hat and then go to this little wrench icon, there's this thing called shift right here. If you do it all the way over here, it won't sound too good. It will sound very, very off-grid. But if you do it here, it's just slight, just to give it a little more bounce. So those are just some tips you can use with your hat. So I have this open hat here that I'm going to use for this beat. However, it's a little too high-pitched in my opinion. So I'm going to pitch it down a bit. I think for Travis dark kind of beats, I think pitching down sounds can be a great thing to do for your perks and for your drum sounds, just to give it that extra dark feel. I think Wonder Girl does this a lot with her perk sounds, and it can create bounces and sounds you wouldn't have planned on using had you not pitched those sounds. So that's something you can do, especially if you're going for the dark type of vibe, to add some quick little elements to your beat. So I think I'm good with the drums we got going on. I think they're simple, yet have enough going on to keep room for the artist. So now I'm going to go for the 808. I'm definitely going to go for a harder, distorted kind of 808. I think that would best fit the vibe I'm going for on this beat. So yeah. So all I'm about to do here is copy and paste the kick pattern I have going on into the 808s. And so that will basically just take all the kicks I had, put them in the 808 piano roll, and then I can just press Command L to elongate all the 808 notes so they play for the full duration. And then what I can do now is I'm going to pitch it up because I'm going to use my ears with the 808s pitched up to hear what the root note of the melody is at that time, so we can get the 808 line going. So I'm going to go ahead and pitch the melody up 2 octaves. I just want the 808 to be at a note where I can put it down an octave instead of having to have it at A, because basically A, if I put it down to A4 down here, it just won't, it's just too low and just won't sound that good. So I'm just pitching it up 2 because then it will be at the note of, then it will be at the note of B, which is way more desirable for an 808 because you can pitch it down here and the 808s will still sound good there. So So that's all I'm doing with that. So let me go ahead and raise the rest of these 808s up to, and then I'm just going to figure out the last note in the bass line as well. So I believe we have all the 808 notes right. We have the bass line done. It just follows the kick pattern as well as the root notes of the melody. So now I'm going to pitch down the 808s I want to pitch down. I'm going to leave this one up here just because that pitch down an octave just wouldn't sound too good. And yeah, and so this is pretty simple 808s, but they're so distorted, and we already have a lot going on with the drums that I think a more simple 808 line works for this beat. So here's how it sounds. So a quick tip with your 808s, if you click on your 808 that you have used for your song and then click on this little icon right here, if you drag the attack, decay, sustain, and release all the way down and then the hold all the way up, that will basically give you this box looking thing in the envelope, and essentially what that will do is it will just make it so your 808s stop and play when you want them to. So if I wanted my 808 to be like this short, which it won't sound good, but this is just for an example, I could do that. But I want my 808s in this beat to be long. But basically, if you don't do this, your 808s have the chance of running into each other and just running on top of each other, and it just won't sound good. It will make your low end very muddy, and your 808s will just be playing at the same time, and it just won't be an enjoyable listening experience. So definitely do this if you don't with your 808s. It's a good way to make sure your low end is doing what you want it to do, when you want it to do, and make sure your 808s are working together, basically. So hopefully that helps. Let's keep going. So I think we have all the drum sounds for this beat done. So the first thing I'm going to do is assign all of these to their own mixer track. All you have to do is click on this little box right here and drag up or down with your mouse. So once I have them all on their own mixer track, the first thing I will do is put a soft clipper on the master. This just makes sure that your beat won't be clipping after you export it. And then I will also put a fruity parametric EQ on mixer track number 1, which is where I put the loop in. And this basically just makes sure no 808, the 808 doesn't clash with lower frequencies in the melody. And the next thing I will do is play all the drum sounds and then just use my ear, which I know if you're a beginner, that isn't the most helpful advice, but it's kind of what you have to do. Trial and error is a big part of producing and mixing. You just kind of have to put in the work and realize that at the first, you're not going to be as great at it, but as you do it, it just kind of becomes more natural and you kind of figure out what sound and everything, where stuff's supposed to go. So I'm just going to kind of use my ears and go by that. And you guys can watch that. And I'll try and point out the specific things I do in mixing, but I take a pretty simple approach, I'm not going to lie. So here you guys go. So those are all of my drum sounds mixed. Like I said, pretty simple approach. I usually put my kicks. So this knob right here is basically stereo or mono. Mono means it's like in the middle. Stereo means it's wide in your headphones. So I put the 808s and the kick on mono, just because that's where they sound best at. And then I usually kind of add some slight panning to like my hi-hats and my open hats. And then the rest of the sounds I just level to the right volume where I think they sit best at. And so I think I have everything mixed right. So now all we have to do is arrange the beat and we're done. So all I just did was go to patterns and split by channel. And basically what that does is it just splits all of my drum sounds up for me like this. So they're stemmed out so I can play stuff where I want it and take stuff out where I don't want it. And this will allow me to arrange my beat in a way where sounds are being added or taken away to really progress the beat in a way that keeps it interesting the whole way through. So yeah. So all I'm doing right here is I'm clicking on this little green icon, or right clicking on this little green dot and going to create an automation clip. And basically what this will allow me to do will be able to turn off this plugin Fruity Parametric EQ off when I don't want it to play. So for example, in the intro, we don't have any 808s going, so I can have it off. But whenever I have 808s going, I will have this on just to make sure that the melodies are not crashing with the 808s. And then here, so in this part of the loop, a sub bass comes in, so obviously I don't want my 808s going then. I mean, also I want to have the parametric EQ off so that the bass in the melody isn't taken away from the EQ. So basically, at this point, when it goes into the verse, I will take the EQ off using the automation clip, and that will allow for the bass in the loop I'm using to really shine. So here's how it sounds. So now I have the whole beat arranged. All I did was take that little hook section I had and repeat it, and then for the verse I just added a section where I took out the kick as well as some drum sounds and just let the rim, the hat, and the 808 carry the beat. Then I have this little pre-chorus section where I'm going to add a little drop real quick. So this is like the last 4 bars of the verse / pre-chorus, because in today's music, a lot of people will go for the more melodic approach and not really drop 16s anymore. So I like to add a section like a pre-chorus so they can lead into the hook, but it goes right back into the hook. That verse that I just did right there repeats, and then the hook again, and then I just take the outro, the loop I was using, and use that as the outro for the beat. And that's everything. I'm just going to add some quick like risers to the beat, and then I think we'll be done, honestly. So yeah. Yeah, so all I did was just add my tag as well as some basic risers, and that was basically it for the beat. So at the end here, I'll play a 30-second preview of the beat and upload it on my YouTube probably later this week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you gained something. If you did, I really would appreciate if you consider liking and subscribing. It helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Really going dummy.